Chad Hasty Show News Talk, KFYO. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Joining me right now on the phones, we welcome back to the show Senior Advisor for the Trump 2020 campaign, Lara Trump. Welcome back to the show. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing great, and happy belated Easter to you.
To you as well. Thank you very much. And it's great to have you on. Last week, of course, with the Mueller report coming out, you had the Democrats in denial. That's I think that's what we're kind of seeing play out, that there was no obstruction of justice. There was nothing. There was nothing there at all in this report. Yet today, Lara, it's trending on Twitter right now. You have 2020 Democrats who are running saying it's time to impeach the President of the United States. What are they thinking over there on the Democrat side?
Well, if we only knew. Honestly, I think the reality is that this president has been so successful in his 2+ years in office that the Democrats know leading into 2020 they are fighting a battle that they are probably going to lose, because this president, in 2016, he was just a businessman who people elected because he, for some, wasn't Hillary Clinton, because he made a lot of great promises. He's delivered, Chad, on all of those promises that he made. This country is doing so well when it comes to the economy, when it comes to the jobs pouring back into this country. We have more jobs than we even have people to fill them. Manufacturing jobs that our previous president said you'd have to have a magic wand to bring back have come back by the hundreds of thousands to this country. So when they're looking to 2020, they're saying, wait a minute, this guy's going to be really hard to beat. I actually think he's going to be almost impossible to beat, but they're looking for any way they can distract the people of this country even further. They try to do it for 2 years with the Mueller report and with this investigation and this nonsense with Russia, but they're desperate, and I think they know exactly what they're up against, and Donald Trump is going to beat them again, and it's going to be amazing.
Do you think that there were Republicans when you go? Let's go back in time a little bit, and I think the former House Speaker Newt Gingrich had brought this up, that when they went after Bill Clinton, and they knew they didn't have the votes in the Senate, but when they went after Bill Clinton, Newt Gingrich he came out and said that it hurt Republicans, moving forward. Do you think that the Democrats, if they move forward with impeaching or impeachment proceedings in the House, we know they're not going to get through with it in the Senate, but in the House, if they do this out of some retribution, because again, the president's violated no law. It came out in the Mueller, there was no obstruction. If the Democrats do this, won't it backfire?
Oh my gosh, I think it will in a heartbeat. And I think they know that they're treading very, very lightly here, and you haven't seen them push it too far yet. I think people are sick and tired of this. Listen, the President of the United States is a president for all people. He's working hard every day for every single American in this country. And whomever the president, even if it's a person you didn't vote for, we should all want that person to succeed because it is good for our country. Sadly, you see how political things have gotten and how much people on the left hate him so much that they'd rather see the country fail than see him succeed. I 100% think it will backfire on them. I think people are sick and tired of this nonsense. They want the country to move on. And you're right. I don't know what they think they're going to impeach him on, because there have been no laws broken. He's done nothing wrong. But they're desperate to find anything. And listen, we'll see what happens with all this. I even told him yesterday, I said, I think that they're actually helping you now because the Democrats look so crazy. Yeah. You see that like MSNBC's lost half their audience because they were the ones championing this Mueller report, and then it came out, and guess what? Nothing in there that looked bad for the president. So, it's sad to see, but fortunately, it doesn't really matter because this president's going to keep doing the right thing every day.
We're visiting with Lara Trump here on the Chad Hasty Show. Let me ask you about the 2020 Democrats, a field that keeps expanding. This week, I believe the former vice president is going to jump into this race. When you look at a possible Biden versus Trump matchup, what are your thoughts on that? Well, what do you take away from that just initially?
Well, I'll tell you, Joe Biden had an opportunity for 8 years under President Obama and that administration to do great things for this country, and we didn't see a whole lot happen there. I feel like he's had his chance. The country is sort of over him, and listen, when you look at the Democrat field, you see how far left and how radical so many of these candidates have become, that they're running openly and proudly on socialism. I just don't know how Joe Biden is going to withstand that. I don't know that he's the person that the Democrats would even choose to run against the president. So we are not worried about that at all. When you have a track record like our president has, and you have the successes he has had in his term in office so far, we feel great about it. I think that at the end of the day, people are going to go in a voting booth, and no one is going to be looking, and they'll never tell a soul, but they're going to vote for Donald Trump because they really like the way this country is heading.
Laura, let me ask you this, and listen, I agree with you that this president's done some great things for the nation, but you and I both know there are people out there who think capitalism is evil. There's a reason why the Democrat Party, I call them the Democrat Socialist Party now, because they've embraced Bernie Sanders' ideas. His ideas that were maybe on the fringe just a few years ago, are no longer on the fringe for the Democrat Party. He's the standard bearer for this Democrat Party now. How do you and how does the president and the campaign overall reach out to those people and say it's not capitalism that's the problem, it's socialism is a problem? How do you reach those people?
Well, I think we just have to do a better job as a whole of defining socialism for people and showing the impact of socialism around the world. You really don't have to look that far. You look just south to Venezuela and you see what happens under a socialist regime. And you see that on average people have lost 24 pounds in Venezuela. 90% of the country is living under the poverty line. And people are starving to death down there. They have no medical treatment. They're desperate to get out of that country. It sounds crazy, but if in the wrong hands, that could happen to the United States of America. We have always been a capitalist country. We've always been, a free market economy, and that's why this country has been so successful, and that's why people are flocking here every single day from around the world. And so, I think it's our job to show how detrimental socialism could be to our country. It's hard, though. You do have these, college campuses that have become bastions of liberal ideology, and the kids at these campuses are very easily influenced by celebrity and the idea of free this and that. But then when you start asking people, well, then who is actually paying for it? Because nothing is free. How are you going to pay for Medicare for all? These people proposing the ideas generally cannot answer you because they don't have any idea either. And when you display for people, I think, what long-term it would mean for this country, and when those college kids become, working adults and they want to start a family of their own, it might not be so easy if we are running our country on socialism. So I just think we need to do a better job of talking about the impact of socialism and why it's so dangerous for our country.
Well, and Laura, it seems like to me that's going to be a central theme. Unfortunately, for this campaign going into 2020 is the battle. This is sad. The battle between capitalism and socialism. It sounds like that's going to be a very central part of the president's reelect.
Yeah, no, I think it will be. I actually tend to think that they're making it almost easier on us in 2020 because I really don't think, Chad, that the majority of people in this country can get behind a socialist, a president or anybody running on socialism. And the more you learn about it and the more you talk about the fact that China, Cuba, Venezuela, these are all countries, the former USSR that ran on socialism, and you see how bad it was for all of their countries, people say, wait a minute, I don't want to have that happen here. So I really don't think most people can vote for ideas like this. And I think it's going to be really hard for the Democrats to convince people that these are good ideas. Senior advisor for the Trump 2020 campaign, Lara Trump, always a pleasure to have you on the show, and I'm sure we'll visit again in the coming months. You got it. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's Lara Trump here on the Chad Hasty Show News Talk, KFYO.